Every day we hear more and more about Tiger Woods' surprising string of affairs and issues with infidelity. The number of women claiming they were with Tiger is now in the double digits. Is he a chronic cheater or more? A sex addict or possibly both? Psychotherapist and addiction specialist Matthew Bruin joins us now. Good to see you again. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You know, the story just seems to be getting bigger and bigger every day. He cheated multiple times. I think the number's now up to 13.
I've heard 13 as of this morning, so I'm sure the number is probably going to grow.
It's going to keep growing. You know, he has it all, though. He has money, he has a beautiful wife, beautiful family, great career. What drives a person like this to cheat?
Well, I think there's a misconception that if you're wealthy or successful that you're going to not have these problems, and I think a lot of these things are most likely probably deep-seated issues. That seems to be the case for a lot of these people, and there's also some cultural implications in the athletic world. I know in entertainment and athletic world certainly there seems to be some propensity for these things to come about as well. So I think there's probably a couple of things like that are at play here.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of opportunity. Every city he goes to, the women are all over him wherever he eats or, at the golf course. You say that, though, that Tiger may not be just a cheater, but he could be a sex addict as well. Why do you say that?
There's been some speculation about that growing within the media, and certainly I began to take notice of that as well, with just the sheer amount and volume, and not only the volume amount of women that he's been with, but some of the situations that are going on. It starts to have kind of that addictive or compulsive feel, this very risky kind of behavior that seems to be occurring. So when you're looking at addiction and sex addiction, it's not just about sheer numbers. It's not like if you reach 10 or 12 or 15 partners, now you're a sex addict. It has more to do with the person trying to escape and deal with their anxiety in life and kind of creating this alternate life to kind of go into to reduce some of that anxiety and the problems. And I think that that's possibly what we're beginning to see here take place.
It remains to be seen whether he and his wife, Elin, are going to stay together. What do you say to people like her in her situation? Is it once a cheater, always a cheater?
Well, I think there's a couple different things. I think one, if Tiger truly has a sex addiction or a relational love type addiction, those are some deep-seated problems that need to be worked out, most likely professionally, and will take time. If it's just an infidelity issue, obviously it's going to take a long period of time for her to heal. There's really nothing more damaging to a relationship than infidelity, and it takes some time and certainly counseling to heal. So, I think it remains to be seen what will happen to that relationship. The good news is that people do get over affairs. It does have there's that possibility, but it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of work, and obviously a lot of trust needs to be rebuilt.
And looking at the bigger picture, do you think there were warning signs for her, for people in a similar situation?
Well, one of the major warning signs for sex addiction, there's several different factors, but one is, like I said, talked about the anxiety factor. People begin to kind of develop this maladaptive way of dealing with their anxiety and stress. They become anxious, kind of agitated, and then you'll see them removed, and that triggers into a whole cycle of guilt when they act out. And so in her situation, probably watching him become angry and then distant and then coming back being kind of remorseful but not forthcoming, obviously, that would definitely be a warning signs amongst other historical things that may have happened with Tiger Woods, which I don't really know about his family history growing up, but certainly with most sex addicts there are issues within the family that have been long-lived throughout the course of time.
Something I think that gets lost here is how it affects our kids. I mean, this guy is a sports icon, an idol. A lot of sports figures don't like to be called idols, but they're idolized by a lot of kids.
Absolutely.
As a parent, what do you tell your kid right now when they're seeing, everywhere you go, it's on the radio, it's on, TV, constantly. What do you say to your kids about what Tiger did?
Well, I think depending on the age of the children, that's a key component. Most of his children are young, so what you're going to come forward with those is going to be a little bit less than you would with an adolescent or something. But to be honest with them and to allow them to have a format and opportunity to speak and express their feelings is absolutely critical and crucial. And unfortunately, you don't hear enough about his kids in this whole instance. It's mostly focused on his mistresses and such. But it's important for, I think, society in San Diego and the country in large to understand that the implications of sex addiction, infidelity, cheating, affairs, has a really detrimental effect on young people. And in fact, most sex addicts come from some sort of family where there's a history of this in the past. So certainly getting the children in to see a professional, as well as making sure they have the opportunity to express themselves and be honest and open with their feelings, absolutely critical.
All right, Matthew Bruin, psychotherapist and addiction specialist, thank you so much for coming on today. There's the information on your screen if you want to get a hold of Matthew.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.
Good to see you.